Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. First up today, Uber is selling its autonomous vehicle research unit, which was called Advanced Technologies Group, to the self-driving startup Aurora. So a few years ago, Uber promoted their self-driving technology as being key to their long-term profitability. Uber, of course, is still interested in deploying autonomous vehicles, but rather than trying to solve the problem in-house, they will now outsource that endeavor. Aurora is, however, prioritizing self-driving technology for the commercial trucking sector rather than being focused on robotaxis. And in addition to selling their full self-driving unit to Aurora, Uber also plans to invest an additional $400 million in their company. So this really is a simple move of getting back to the basics for Uber and focusing on the fundamentals of ride-hailing and food delivery. Of course, this would still be a negative news item for Uber as they'll now have to give up significant margins deploying someone else's autonomous technology. But this is a reminder that not just anyone is going to be able to solve for full, true autonomy, and Uber has learned that the hard way. But you can definitely now ask the question what Uber actually owns if they don't own the cars, they have no full self-driving in-house, and their employees are contractors. So of course they have their brand, they have market share, and their software is real, but outside of that, their competitive moat seems pretty thin if you ask me. Next up, it's been confirmed that Elon has moved his Musk Foundation, which was based in California, to Austin. This, according to a certificate of merger filed by Texas Secretary of State and was reported by Bloomberg. Now I wanted to mention this because of course plenty of people are speculating that Elon will move to Texas, but as we've learned over the past few years, it honestly doesn't matter at all as he sleeps at factories and he's always on the go, and he's been selling his houses trending toward minimalism, so he's basically a rogue. And even though California is imploding, I still think it's highly unlikely that Tesla would ever move Fremont out of the state, at least for the foreseeable future. And for what I would actually call the biggest news of the day, even bigger than the capital raise, is that Tesla has reportedly sold 21,604 Model 3s in China in November. And if you compare that to what they did in October, where they sold 12,143 Model 3s, this is a 78% month-over-month increase. And look, it's been clear that Giga Shanghai has been producing at this level, but many were thrown off with the November delivery figures because that's when Giga Shanghai started exporting thousands of cars to Europe. So for those of us who follow things pretty closely, I don't think this is a big surprise, but it is still great news nonetheless and sets us up very well for Tesla hitting their 2020 guidance. We also got news of a few Model Ys spotted at Giga Berlin. Some of our Berlin drone operators spotted the cars with these mint green covers. And it's not official, but it's assumed that the cars are there to help adjust Giga Berlin's revolutionary paint shop, as the Brandenburg State Office for the Environment recently did allow Tesla to install the Geico Takesha machines into the shop. And sticking with Giga Berlin, there is some almost comical news that Tesla has been ordered by a German court to stop clearing trees at Giga Berlin in order to not disturb hibernating snakes. These local environment groups in Berlin are relentless in fighting Tesla's expansion, despite the fact that this is not a natural forest. The Brandenburg Nature Conservation Union and the Green League have filed a lawsuit to stop the process, and the court ordered Tesla to temporarily stop the deforestation until they make a final decision. So we'll see what these groups ask of Tesla now, if they literally want them to remove all of these sand lizards and snakes, so we'll have to stay tuned with this one. And it was reported by the Wall Street Journal that about 17% of Cadillac's 880 United States dealerships have decided not to invest in the upgrades in order to sell electric vehicles. So about 150 General Motors dealers have decided to cut ties with selling Cadillacs altogether rather than invest in these upgrades, showing us that these retailers are still skeptical of moving to battery-powered vehicles. In case you missed it, GM gave dealers a choice to take a buyout offer ranging from $300,000 to $1 million or exit from the brand to avoid spending the roughly $200,000 for the necessary upgrades to allow them to sell EVs. Most dealers who accepted the buyout also own other GM brands like Chevy, Buick, and GMC, and they only sell a handful of Cadillacs each month. It's really pretty simple though, as these dealerships are very skeptical about the demand for electric vehicles not named Tesla, and honestly, the sad part is they should be. And look, of course, we would love to see all of the Cadillac dealers invest the necessary money to be able to sell electric vehicles, but the problem is they aren't Tesla, and anybody that knows it's going to be very difficult for Cadillac and really any other brand to sell electric vehicles in this space until they can catch up somewhat to Tesla, if they can at all. So it should be no surprise why 20% of these companies are just saying, we're all set with EVs, we're going to stick to internal combustion engines and ride out the end of this era. And to wrap up today's news, I just wanted to touch on Tesla's latest $5 billion capital offering, but I'm not going to go too far into it, as I'm sure most of you are pretty well informed by now. I do want to mention that this offering does not mean they've already raised the money. This is just the option to do so in the coming weeks, but the last time Tesla set it up the exact same way, and they ended up issuing the new shares within just a few days. And look, you can make arguments for both sides here. Debt is incredibly cheap right now, so yes, Tesla could have raised this $5 billion in cash by not diluting any of the company and just issuing debt. But of course, Tesla stock has had an incredible run up, and diluting 0.8% really isn't that big of a deal to raise the $5 billion. Most of you guys know I would prefer Tesla continue to spend aggressively and capture as much market share as they can, so of course I'm on board with this move, but it does signal at least to some degree that Tesla management feels the stock valuation is high, which is why they would choose to do this, making now a good time. The truth is, I could break this down for about 45 minutes, and Tesla probably has plenty of reasons for why they chose to do this, some of which we will definitely not ever be aware of. I still think we see a nice run up to the S&P 500 inclusion in the stock price, despite today potentially ending the day down, but we could certainly see some selling around Christmas, and here's why. For the people who are expecting the S&P 500 bounce, there is going to be a group of sellers looking to sell after that inclusion day, so there still may be a run up after December 18th, but at some point there will be a group looking to sell after that event. But that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Please take a moment to like the video if you did, and consider subscribing for more Tesla content, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I hope that you have a great day.